Hello everyone and welcome back to your favorite channel Let's Crack NEET UG in English. I am Aditi Gupta, your biology mentor. And in today's class we are going to discuss about meiosis. As we have already discussed about the basics of cell division, then we have seen the type of cell division, and in yesterday's class we have seen the detailed mechanism of mitosis, right? And now in today's class we are going to learn about meiosis. What exactly is meiosis? Where is it taking place? And what's the mechanism through which a cell divides, right? With the help of this meiotic cell division. Okay, guys? So come on, let's start today's session. But before proceeding, first let me introduce myself and tell you something really important about Unacademy that's really going to help you in your NEET UG preparation. So first of all, this is the link to the Telegram channel. You can stay connected to all of us with the help of this Telegram channel. Okay, guys? Now, talking about myself, so my name is Aditi Gupta and I have been mentoring students for the past 6 years for their NEET UG preparation. Many students of mine are in their dream medical college. I myself have secured an All India rank of 61 in the prestigious GATE examination and have pursued my master's from IIT Kanpur in biological sciences and bioengineering. Okay, guys? I am here to share my knowledge, which will definitely help you in cracking NEET UG examination. Now, you are well aware of the fact that yes, there are topmost team of educators on board on this amazing, awesome platform called Unacademy. And to ensure highest probability of your NEET UG selection, by availing the guidance of the topmost team of mentors, you need to go for Unacademy subscription. Now, let me tell you how can you proceed for Unacademy subscription and what are the benefits of having Unacademy subscription. You can either visit unacademy.com or can download Unacademy Learning app through Play Store or iOS, right? Unacademy Learning app has some absolutely free of cost features like the special classes and the quiz feature. You don't have to pay anything for these special classes or the quiz features, right? My special class on Unacademy Learning app is at 11:30 a.m. I have already updated my schedule over there. You can follow me to get all the updates of my upcoming lectures. Okay, guys? Now, coming towards the subscription part, by proceeding for Unacademy subscription, you will be getting live classes, interactive live classes from the topmost team of educators. There are multiple batches running on the platform. You can select your batch depending upon your requirement, and you can track your preparation by participating in various different types of testing patterns which are running on the platform. Okay, guys? There are two platforms, Unacademy Plus and Unacademy Iconic. In both the platforms, you will be getting daily interactive live classes of all the three subjects from the topmost team of educators, along with a dedicated doubt clearing session, okay, after every 3 or 4 regular classes. Then you will be getting a chance to select your educator based on your understanding, based on your compatibility. There is no compulsion to study from a certain educator, although we have, topmost team of educators for all the subjects, but it sometimes depends, it sometimes varies from student to student, right? So you can choose your educator. The complete NEET UG syllabus is covered in a structured manner, okay, along with the PDF notes. Then your knowledge is evaluated on the basis of the live tests and quizzes. You will be provided with daily rankings, and with the help of those ranks, you can see your improvement. You can work for its betterment, right? Then you will be getting unlimited access to the NEET UG content. That means there are 50 plus educators on Unacademy subscription platform, and with the single subscription, you will be getting access to the video lectures, the PDF notes, to the personalized test papers of all those educators. So this was about the plus and the iconic. See, this iconic also includes the benefit, all these benefits which I've discussed. But iconic also has some out of the box features like you will be getting your own personal coach, okay, throughout your preparation journey. Then your own personalized study planner so that you can utilize your time to the best of your efficiency, and in-depth test analysis so that you can see what mistakes you have done, what are the reason behind those mistakes, and you can rectify your mistakes, right? Because ultimately you have to mark that particular question correctly if it is asked in NEET UG examination. Okay, so these are the additional benefits of the iconic, and also from time to time you will be getting expert guidance, expert motivation session to keep you motivated, to keep you enthusiastic throughout your preparation journey. Okay, so this was about Unacademy. Now moving towards the subscription part, guys. So Unacademy Plus and Unacademy Iconic both has multiple subscription plans. I would suggest, the longer the duration, the more benefit you will be getting. 10 pass students should go for 2 years of subscription plan, and 12 studying or 12 pass out students should go for 1 year of subscription plan. Students who are targeting NEET 2021, 6 months plan is the best plan for you, right? And again, if use my referral code, which is AG001, you will be getting an instant 10% on your discount on your course fee, right? That means for 1 year, okay, for 1 year, the applicable fee now becomes 34,650 instead of this 38,500. Okay, so you got an instant 10% discount by using my referral code. Similarly for Iconic, guys, let's say for 2 years, if you have planned to go for 2 year of Iconic subscription, and by using my referral code AG001, you will be getting an instant 10% discount. That means now instead of this 1 lakh, you need to pay only rupees 90,000. Okay, so that was the subscription part. Now coming towards our today's topic, as I've already told you that in today's class we'll be discussing about meiosis. Okay, so first of all, meiosis, also known as reductional cell division. Also known as what? Reductional cell division. Okay. Why is it termed as reductional? Because, the number of chromosomes is reduced. See, for example, if in a mother cell, the number of chromosomes is 46 and there are two set of chromosomes. So what happens in meiosis? Meiosis is basically divided into two parts, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. So meiosis is basically divided into two parts, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Okay. So after meiosis 1 is completed, the mother cell is divided into two daughter cells. Okay. And here, after meiosis 1, the ploidy of the cell changes. That means each of the two daughter cells, they will be containing only one set of chromosomes. That means reduction in the number as well as the set of chromosome has taken place, because initially 2n is equals to 46 was the chromosomal condition in the mother cell, but now the daughter cell, they contains n is equals to 23 in each of the two daughter cells, right? So this is meiosis 1, and which is essentially known as what? Reductional division. Okay. Now meiosis 2 takes place in both the daughter cells. Now what happens? Now meiosis 2 takes place in both the daughter cells. From each daughter cells, again, two new daughter cells will be born, will be produced, right? Now the daughter cells which are finally produced are all haploid in nature, So see, these cells were also haploid, and the cells which are produced through these cells are also haploid. That means this particular division, this meiosis 2, is homotypic or equational type of division. Okay, meiosis 2 is identical to mitosis in nature, but it always starts in or it always takes place in haploid cell, whereas mitosis can take place in both haploid as well as diploid cells. Okay, but talking about meiosis 1, it is essentially a reductional division because the number of set of chromosomes is reducing. It is reducing to half. Okay, so meiosis 2 is what? Homotypic or equational division, whereas meiosis 1 is reductional or heterotypic division. Okay, now let us understand why do we need meiosis? Why do we need meiosis? Okay, we can say that in sexually reproducing organisms, what happens? There is a male gamete, okay, and there is a female gamete. And we know that the gametes are always haploid in nature. Okay, so there is a male gamete and there is a female gamete. In case of sexual reproduction, fusion of this male and female gamete takes place, and this n plus n combines to form 2n, right? This 2n is what? This 2n is zygote, which is going to develop into a normal organism, right? Which is going to develop into a normal organism. I would say it will develop to form an adult, right? Now, the formation of these gametes, the formation of these haploid gametes requires the division which is known as meiosis. Okay, so generally what happens is this zygote is formed when the zygote is receiving one set of chromosome from father, because this male gamete contains one set of chromosome, and male gamete is formed in male, right? Similarly in female gamete, so the zygote is receiving one set of chromosome from father and one set of chromosome from mother. Okay, and that is why we have written over here 2n. That means two set of chromosomes. Okay, and that is why we call ourselves as diploid. Okay, so what happens? In diploid organisms, during the process of gamete formation, this meiosis division takes place, which results in the formation of haploid gamete. Okay. Now try to understand one more point. See, there are, let's take our example. We say that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs, right? And these 23 pairs is equivalent to the 46 number of chromosomes which we have. Now, what do we understand by these 23 pairs? All the 23 chromosomes which we are having in our body are present in their pair form. Okay, and we are receiving one each from our father and mother. Okay, for example, if it is a chromosome number 1, if it is what? If it is chromosome number 1. So one chromosome number 1 we will be receiving from our father, and one chromosome number 1 we will be receiving from our mother, right? So these two, both these chromosomes are the homologous chromosomes. They have the same linear sequence of the genes. Okay, so these are what? These are the homologous chromosomes. And what is the homologous chromosome, by the way? The chromosomes which have same linear sequence of genes. I'm writing it over here. Same linear sequence of genes. For example, let's say gene A is present over here. So here also at the same position gene A will be present. Gene C is present over here. So here also at the same position gene C will be present. The linear position of gene is same in homologous chromosomes, and these are termed as what? Homologous chromosomes. One we receive from our father and one we receive from our mother. Okay. So what happens essentially in case of meiosis? Now let me remove these parts. In case of meiosis 1, first of all, what happens? In case of meiosis 1, the separation of these homologous chromosomes takes place. In case of meiosis 1, what happens? In meiosis 1, the separation of homologous chromosomes takes place. Separation of homologous chromosomes. Right? For that means, if this is chromosome number 1, right? If this is chromosome number 1, both are chromosome number 1. Right? So after meiosis 1, this chromosome number 1 will be present in another daughter cell, and this chromosome number 1 will be present in another daughter cell. That means the separation of homologous chromosome is the main criteria of meiosis 1, is the main function, you can say, the main essence why meiosis 1 is taking place. And that is why we call it as reduction division, because initially both these pair of chromosomes were present in the same cell, but now they are present in a different cell. Okay, so this is how reduction in the set of chromosome takes place. Okay, now what happens in the meiosis 2? What happens in the meiosis 2? Simple, DNA distribution takes place. Simple DNA distribution takes place in meiosis 2, just identical to the mitosis. Okay, now remember that we have seen in the interphase, just before the M phase, in the interphase, in each and every type of cell division, there is an interphase followed by the M phase, right? So in yesterday's class also I've discussed about this interphase. In interphase, what happens? There are three phases, G1, S, and G2 phase, right? So what is happening in the G1 phase? I told you that the cell will increase in size. Maximum increase in cell size takes place in G1 phase. Okay. Then RNA and protein synthesis will take place, right? Amino acids required for histone protein synthesis will take place. Synthesis of amino acids will take place. Cell organelles will replicate. Except for few like mitochondria, plastid, and centrioles. We have already discussed about these details in our previous class. Okay, and we have discussed the mechanism also in the first class. Now in the S phase, what happened? In the S phase, DNA replication took place. What is DNA replication? See, before S phase, each of the 46 chromosomes, let's take our example. Each of the 46 chromosomes before S phase has one chromatid. Has how many chromatid? Has one chromatid. And the DNA present in this chromatid. Okay. Now what happened in the S phase? DNA replication took place. So suppose this is one chromatid, and the DNA which was present in this chromosome, it replicated itself. What happened? It replicated itself. Okay. So now again one more chromatid is being formed. One more chromatid is formed. Right? So now after S phase, what has happened? After S phase, this is also one chromosome. This is also one chromosome. But here, before S phase, one chromosome has one chromatid. But after S phase, what happened? One chromosome has two chromatid. One chromosome now has how many chromatid? One chromosome has now two chromatids. Right? And these two chromatids, they are termed as sister chromatids. Two chromatids are termed as what? These two chromatids are termed as the sister chromatids. They are connected to each other with the help of centromere. This is the centromere, right? So that means the number of chromosome is not changing. The number of chromosome before S phase, after S phase is same. Number of chromosome is 46, but number of chromatid is getting changed. The number of chromatid before S phase was 46, but now it is 92 because each chromosome now has two chromatids. Okay, and this change has taken place due to the increase in the copy of DNA. Initially, if 2 copy of DNA was present, then now 4 copy of DNA is present. I hope you got the point, right? So now see what happened. Simply, this was the initial state. This is the initial state. This is the ground state, you can say. Okay. That means after division also, the cell should have one chromatid. Chromosome should have one chromatid. Okay. So we have just seen that in meiosis 1, what happens? In meiosis 1, homologous chromosome separate. Let's say this is chromosome number 1. This pair is chromosome number 1, right? Both are chromosome number 1. Now, after the end of meiosis 1, both these chromosomes, they got separated. But now look at this single chromosome. This chromosome has 2 chromatids. But I told you that the ground state, the basic state is each chromosome has only one chromatid, right? So now with the help of meiosis 2, with the help of what? With the help of meiosis 2, the chromosome, the centromere will split. The centromere will split, and each chromosome will now again be consisting of only one chromatid. Now in each chromosome again, each chromosome will be consisting of only one chromatid. So this change in the chromatid number or this DNA distribution process, it takes place in meiosis 2 of meiosis. Okay, and this same thing which we have also seen in case of mitosis. Okay, there also we have seen that in the anaphase of mitosis, the splitting of the centromere takes place, right? Again, each chromosome becomes one chromosome, one chromatid. Okay, so this same change takes place in the meiosis 2, anaphase 2 of meiosis 2, and this is how meiosis cell division is completed. So till now we have discussed the summary of meiosis. Now let us look into the process in detail. Okay. See, the meiosis was first of all studied by Benedin and Strasburger. Okay. And the term meiosis was proposed by Farmer and Moore. Now, as I have told you that meiosis has 2 sequential cycles of nuclear and cell division. That means 2 times nuclear division will take place in meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, and 2 times cell division will take place in meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Okay. Now, gap between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. In between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, there is a gap phase present, and that gap phase is known as interkinesis. We know that the term kinesis is related to division. So interkinesis means the phase between 2 division phase. So between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, the gap which is present is interkinesis. And this is identical to interphase except for one important change. In interkinesis, DNA replication do not take place. DNA replication do not take place. And this is how it is different from interphase. Because in interphase, DNA replication was also taking place. That means in case of meiosis also, DNA is replicating only once, and that too in S phase. In interkinesis, RNA and protein synthesis can continue, centriole replication can continue, the organelles can replicate, but DNA replication has not taken place. Okay, so this is interkinesis. Now the cells which undergoes the process of meiosis is known as what? Is known as meiocyte. Like the cell which undergoes mitosis are known as mitocytes. The cell undergoing meiosis are termed as what? Meiocytes. Okay, let's say in case of plants. Okay, in case of plants, the cell which will be undergoing the process of meiosis in case of male is microsporocyte. Is what? Microsporocyte. Okay, now microsporophyte. Okay, now what happens? The microsporophyte or microsporocyte, basically not phyte, microsporocyte, site for cell. Okay, the microsporocyte, it will divide to form the microspores. Okay, also known as microspore mother cell. Microsporocytes are also known as what? Microspore mother cell. Similarly, in females, it is known as megasporocyte or megaspore mother cell. Okay, so megasporocyte or megaspore mother cell, and it will lead to the development of megaspore. Okay, so this is the gist or the conclusion of the meiosis. Now let us start with the process. Okay, so meiosis 1 has all the 4 stages just similar to the mitosis. That means meiosis 1 will be having prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, and telophase 1. Right? Now, here comes the interesting part. The prophase 1 of meiosis 1 is the longest phase. It is further divided into 5 substages or subphases. And those 5 stages are leptotene, zygotene, pachytene, diplotin, and dikinesis. Prophase 1 is the longest and the most important phase, we can say, because all the important changes are going to take place in this particular stage, that is prophase 1. Okay, and we can easily recall these different stages in sequence with the help of a simple mnemonic. And this mnemonic is not designed by me, it is easily available on the internet. Whatever you find comfortable, you can take for remembering these stages. I usually prefer what? The little Zara, please dance daily. Okay, little Zara, please dance daily. Okay, so this is the mnemonic through which you can remember all these 5 stages. Okay, now let us understand what changes are taking place in a cell, in all these different stages of prophase 1. Okay, so now let us begin with leptotene. But before that, let us see the condition of the cell. So right now the cell contains, all the cell organelles, because the interphase has taken place. That means, the organelles would have replicated, right? The DNA replication has taken place. But important point to notice is that, DNA which is present in the cell, in the nucleus, is present entangled upon each other. Okay, it is present in its spireme stage. What is this spireme stage? That means spireme means resembling ball of wool. Okay, that means the DNA is resembling what? Ball of wool. Okay, just before it has entered in its leptotene stage. Now what happens in the leptotene? The condensation of DNA or the chromatin fiber has started. The condensation, as you can see in the image, the condensation has started, and when you will be observing the cell under the light microscope, you will be seeing, the chromosomal structures have appeared in the cell. Because we know that the chromosome appears during the M phase only. In the interphase, they are present in the form of chromatin fibers, right? So the chromosomes are visible in the leptotene stage. Now what happens during the condensation process? What happens? Generally, the centromere portion is guided towards the equator, whereas the arms of the chromosomes, they are present towards they are facing the polar region. They are facing the poles, right? So this is how the condensation process is taking place. Okay. Now from the spireme stage, that is the ball of wool stage, the chromosome has entered into the bouquet stage. Okay, because the chromosome here are resembling a beautiful bouquet. Okay, the centromere is facing the equator and the arms are guided or are facing the poles. Okay, so this is the leptotene stage. Okay, now what happens? Now comes the second stage, which is the zygotene stage. Now in the zygotene stage, what is happening? The homologous chromosomes, they have come in the front of each other. You can see these two structures, the red one and the blue one. These are the two homologous chromosomes, and they are joined or connected together with the help of a complex, with the help of a formation of a ribonucleoprotein, which is synaptonemal complex. Which is what? Which is a ribonucleoprotein. Okay, so with the help of the formation of this synaptonemal complex, right, what has happened? The homologous chromosomes, they are present in front of each other. They are present in front of each other. Let's say this is one chromosome, okay, and the other chromosome is also here, and these are two homologous chromosomes, and they are connected together with the help of a synaptonemal complex. They are connected together with the help of a synaptonemal complex at the site of the attachment, Okay, now this synaptonemal complex, this position is going to help in the process of recombination or crossing over. Okay, so this is the zygotene stage. I hope this point is clear. So till now, what changes has taken place? In the leptotene, the chromatin fiber has started the condensation process and the chromosomes are visible. In the zygotene, the homologous chromosomes are present in front of each other and they are connected with the help of a synaptonemal complex. Right? Now, real step of crossing over, it takes place in this pachytene stage. What happens in this pachytene? The chromosome is visible in the tetrad stage. That means, let me tell you, each chromosome, they consist of two chromatids, and these two chromatids are what? These two chromatids are the sister chromatids. Let me use another color also. Okay, so these are the two homologous chromosomes. This is chromosome number 1. This is also chromosome number 1. I am intentionally numbering the chromosomes so that you find it easy to relate. Now both these are homologous chromosomes. Okay, they are present together and attached with the help of the synaptonemal complex. Okay. Now each chromosome consists of two chromatids. That means in total in between these homologous chromosomes, or total number of 4 chromatids are present. Okay. These homologous chromosomes, when combined together, they are termed as bivalents. They are termed as what? Bivalents. That means each bivalent has how many chromosomes? Each bivalent has 2 chromosomes. Let's say if human has 46 chromosomes, so how many number of bivalents will be present? 23 bivalents will be present. 23 bivalents will be containing how many chromosomes? 23 bivalents will be containing 23 pairs of homologous chromosomes, right? So one pair, that means 2 chromosomes, means 1 bivalent. And in each bivalent, there are total 4 chromatids. That means tetrad stage is present. And this tetrad stage is visible in this Pachytene stage. Okay. And the real or the actual crossing over or recombination is going to take place in this Pachytene stage. Okay. With the help of the formation of the recombination nodule. With the help of the formation of what? Recombination nodule. What is this recombination nodule? So the recombination nodule is the site where the actual crossing over will take place. Okay. Where the actual crossing over will take place. Now, let me take a screen. Yes. So, for example, if this is one chromosome, right? And this is another chromosome. Okay. So, this is one chromosome. This one is another chromosome. Both are homologous chromosomes, right? Now, see what happens. The exchange of the segment of chromosome is taking place between two non-sister chromatids. What are they? They are non-sister chromatids. Okay, so these non-sister chromatids, they are coming close to each other. Okay, and first of all, the two homologous chromosomes are held together with the help of the synaptonemal complex. Then the next step is the formation of recombination nodule. Recombination nodule is the site from where the actual crossing over will take place. That means actually we need to exchange the part of DNA. If this is DNA, okay, and let me take another color to represent this red chromosome. Okay, so these are the DNA of two homologous chromosomes, right? So now what happens? Let's say the crossing over is taking place in between these region. Okay, so you need an enzyme to cut DNA from this particular place in both the chromosomes, right? And another enzyme which will be helping us in adding these DNA in opposite chromosomes, like now this chromosome has this portion of another homologous chromosome, and this one has some portion of the other homologous chromosome. I hope you got my point. Again, this is the exchange of genetic material, and it is an enzyme mediated process because an enzyme called recombinase is involved in this process. Recombinase generally has what? Endonuclease. That means the enzyme which will be helping in digest or cutting the ends of the DNA, right? Cutting the DNA. This enzyme will help in cutting the DNA, right? And ligase enzyme which will help in joining the DNA. Okay, so what happens with the help of endonuclease? This part is cut from both the DNA strands. With the help of ligase, with the help of crossing over, the exchange takes place, and with the help of ligase, the cut segment is joined. Okay, and now what happens? The homologous chromosomes, they separate. They are on the verge of separating. Okay, so this is the process of crossing over, or also known as what? Also known as recombination. Okay, now let us look into this structure. Okay, so see, in Pachytene I told you that the chromosome appear as bivalent. Each bivalent has tetrad, and with the help of enzyme recombinase, crossing over has taken place. Okay, so now after crossing over, how they will look like? So after crossing over, this for example, let's say this part of this chromosome is, I'm representing it with yellow color. This shows that it is of this chromosome. Okay, and this chromosome has some part of other homologous chromosome. So now this is the variation which has introduced. This is the variation which is introduced now. Okay, this is the variation, or this is the crossing over step. Okay. Now what happens? The chromosomes now start to move away from each other. For example, they were present like this, but now they are trying to move away from each other. They will start to move away from each other, except for the site of recombination nodule. That means where the recombination took place. Except at that site, they will start to move away from each other. Okay. And this process of moving away, it starts at diplotin. It starts at diplotin. Okay, so what is happening in the diplotin stage? Basically, the homologous chromosomes are moving away from each other. Okay, then what happens? Except at a point except at recombination nodule, where the crossing over actually took place. Okay, and at recombination nodule, because of this separation which is trying to happen, an X-shaped structure appears, which is known as what? Which is known as chiasmata. An X-shaped structure appears, which is known as chiasmata. Chiasmata is appearing at the site where the recombination nodule was present, where the recombination took place. So when the chromosomes, they are trying to get separate, at that recombination nodule, an X-shaped structure is present, which is chiasmata. Okay, you can see the chiasmata is present over here. Okay, now an important question is asked from this particular stage. Chiasmata is the product of crossing over. It is not causing crossing over. It is the product of crossing over. So this terminalization of crossing over, it has started in the diplotin stage, but it completes in the dikinesis. Okay, that means terminalization. What is terminalization? In terminalization, basically what happens, both the homologous chromosomes, they are separate from each other. The chiasmata is now not visible. The chiasmata, it opens up in a zip-like manner. So terminalization completes in this dikinesis step. Okay, both the homologous chromosomes, they are present now separately. They are present now separately in front of each other. Okay, so this is dikinesis. Now at the same time, what changes are taking place? Other changes are taking place. So the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus has disappeared. Nuclear membrane and nucleolus has disappeared. The centrioles has started moving towards the opposite pole. Okay, so the centrioles has started moving to the opposite poles, and ester rays are formed. Ester rays are formed. We already know the meaning of these terms. Okay, now this marks the movement of the second stage, that is the metaphase 1. Okay, so what happens in the metaphase 1? Both the centrioles, as you can see here in this picture, they are present on the opposite poles. Both the pair of centrioles are present on the opposite poles, right? Now the chromosomes. Now the homologous chromosomes, where the recombination has already taken place, now these chromosomes are coming towards the equator and they're arranging on the equator. And this time, two equatorial plates are getting formed. Whereas in mitosis, we saw, for example, let's say 2n is equals to 46 is the chromosomal number, right? So in mitosis, what was happening? All these 46 chromosomes were getting arranged in a single equatorial plate, right? But now here what is happening? Out of these 46, 23 chromosomes are appearing in one plate and 23 chromosomes are arranging in another plate. So that means total 2 equatorial plates are formed. Total 2 equatorial plates are formed. This movement of chromosome into the equator is known as congression. We have already discussed about it, right? Now what happens? The formation of spindle fibers take place, the chromosomal fiber, continuous fiber, discontinuous fiber, and the interzonal fiber. Remember, I have already discussed about them in detail in the class when I was discussing mitosis. Okay. And now pay attention to the position of chromosomal fiber and the interzonal fiber this time. See what happened. Let me remove all this. See what happens. Let's say these are the chromosomes which are arranged on the equator. So there are total, let's say, 4 chromosomes. There are total how many chromosomes? There are total 4 chromosomes. This is the centriole, both at opposite poles, right? Now the chromosomal fibers we know are formed from one pole to the kinetochore. See, this is the one end of the chromosomal fiber. It is attached to the centriole at one end and to the kinetochore of the chromosome at other end. Okay. Similarly, for the other set of chromosome also this is happening. Now the interzonal fiber position is important here. In mitosis, we saw that the interzonal fiber were present in between two sister chromatids, right? But here in meiosis 1, metaphase 1, the interzonal fibers are present in between the homologous chromosomes. in between the homologous chromosomes. So these are what? These are the interzonal fibers, right? And now we know that once this apparatus is ready, once this spindle apparatus or metaphasic apparatus is ready, okay, the cell proceeds towards the next stage, which is what? Which is the anaphase 1. Okay, so this is the arrangement of the spindle fiber in case of metaphase 1. All the homologous chromosomes, they align themselves in the equator. Total 2 equatorial plates are formed. Okay, they segregate themselves randomly. Okay, they segregate themselves randomly in just half number, like 23 in one equatorial plate and 23 in another equatorial plate. Right? Then comes the next phase, which is anaphase, which is meant to simply separate the homologous chromosomes. So what happens by the push and pull mechanism? Who is pushing and who is pulling? Interzonal fibers are pushing because polymerization of interzonal fiber is taking place. Whereas pulling mechanism, because the chromosomal fibers, they are getting depolymerized. Right? So by this polymerization and depolymerization mechanism, the homologous chromosomes, they are pushed apart. If this is one set of chromosomes, this is another set of chromosomes. These are homologous chromosomes. They are present in the equator. Now, by the push and pull mechanism, they are pulled apart. Right? Now, what happens? The homologous chromosomes separate, and this phase is known as disjunction. This phase is known as what? Disjunction of a homologous chromosome. That means separation of homologous chromosome. Okay. Each chromosome at anaphase 1 consists of 2 chromatids. Whereas in mitosis anaphase, we saw that each chromosome, it consisted of how many chromatids? Only 1 chromatid. But you can clearly see in the diagram, each chromosome, it consists how many chromatids? It consists of 2 chromatids. Each chromosome consists of 2 chromatids in anaphase 1 of meiosis 1. And this is important because in anaphase of mitosis, splitting of the centromere was taking place, which leads to the duplication in the number of chromosomes. But here, simply the separation of homologous chromosome is taking place. That means disjunction of homologous chromosome is taking place. Okay, so this is anaphase 1. Now comes the telophase 1. What happens in telophase 1? Once the homologous chromosomes are separated, they have moved towards the opposite poles. The condensation of the chromosomes start. The decondensation of the chromosomes start, and decondensation starts. Right? Then what happens? The nuclear membrane and nucleolus, it reappears. Nuclear membrane and nucleolus reappears. Right? And cell organelles are also visible, and cell is preparing itself for the cytokinesis process. So now the cytokinesis will take place. Okay, now the cytokinesis will take place. In telophase, what is happening? Telophase is reverse of prophase. All the changes which we have seen in prophase will be reversed. So reverse of prophase is telophase. Right? So now the cell will start cytokinesis, that means division, and we clearly know the mechanism of cytokinesis in case of plant as well as in animal cell. Let's say it is an animal cell, so simply by furrow formation, cell will divide. Right? So now if initially the mother cell has 2n set of chromosomes, so after meiosis 1 cytokinesis, daughter cells have only 1 set of chromosomes. Right? Here 2n is equals to 46. 2n is equals to 46, and in normal condition before S phase, 1 chromosome consists of how many chromatids? Only 1 chromatid. But here after meiosis 1, first of all, n is equals to 23. That means 23 number of chromosomes are present, but 1 chromosome consists of how many chromatids? So 1 chromosome here consists of 2 chromatids. Okay, and that's the need for meiosis 2, and that is why we will be needing meiosis 2, because we still have not reached into what we wanted, because 1 chromosome with 1 chromatid is the normal ideal condition, and right now we have 1 chromosome with 2 chromatids. Okay, and to separate these 2 chromatids, meiosis 2 takes place. Okay guys, so we'll be discussing meiosis 2 now. Okay. Okay, so as we were discussing about meiosis 1, and now we have seen the process of cytokinesis also. Now let us discuss meiosis 2. Okay. So meiosis 2, it starts with prophase. It also has 4 phases: prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase 2. And as I've already told you that meiosis 2 will be resembling mitosis And the only difference is that meiosis 2, it always takes place in a haploid cell, whereas mitosis, it can take place in a haploid as well as in a diploid cell, right? So that's the only difference which is taking place in meiosis 2. Now, meiosis 2 is also known as homotypic or equational cell division. Why? Because we have seen the product of meiosis 1 has one set of chromosome and n is equals to 23 here, right? Now, after meiosis 2, for example, let's say this cell has completed meiosis 2. Now, the daughter cells which will be produced will be having again single set of chromosomes, and number of chromosomes again will be 23 only. But what's the difference? Here, one chromosome has two chromatids. Here, one chromosome has how many chromatids? Two chromatids. Whereas here, one chromosome will be having only one chromatid. That means the splitting of the centromere has taken place and the chromatids have separated in the meiosis 2. I hope this point is clear to you. Now, let us begin with the process. See what happens. The prophase 2. Again, the condensation of the chromatin fiber will take place. Okay. First of all, let me again remind you that in between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, there was a gap which is known as interkinesis. Between meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, there was a gap which is known as what? Which is known as interkinesis. Okay, and it is similar to interphase, except the difference is that the interkinesis do not perform DNA replication. So DNA replication do not take place. DNA replication, okay, do not take place in the interkinesis. Now in the prophase, what happens? The condensation of the chromatin fibers starts. That means again the chromatin fibers are now visible as chromosomes, right? Then what happens? The nuclear membrane and the nucleolus will disappear. The nuclear membrane and the nucleolus will disappear, right? The centrioles will start moving towards the pole. Right? And then what will happen? The formation of aster rays will take place. The formation of aster rays, you know, the spindle fibers which are emerging out from the centriole, they resemble as aster rays. They are only termed as the aster rays. So you can see the aster rays, right? These are the aster rays, star-shaped rays. Now the chromosome is also visible, right? Now what is going to happen? In the second stage is going to take place, which is the metaphase. Now in the metaphase, the chromosome is getting aligned on the equator. Let's say if n is equals to 23 is the condition, right? So all the 23 chromosomes will be aligned in the equator. Centrioles will be present in the opposite poles. And the formation of spindle fibers will take place. I told you, right? There were different types of spindle fibers. The first one was the chromosomal fiber, which was coming out from the centriole and was attaching to the chromosome with the help of the, kinetochore present in the centromere. Okay, the kinetochore. Remember, the disc-shaped structure found in the centromere is the kinetochore, which helps in the holding of the spindle fiber to the chromosome, right? Similarly, from the other end also, this is taking place. Okay, the same process is happening. For simplicity only, I am drawing these three chromosomes. Okay, we know that the condition is n is equals to 23 because we have taken an example of, mammalian cells. Okay, now these are the chromosomal fibers. Again, the interzonal fibers will be formed, right? And the interzonal fibers this time will be formed in between the two sister chromatids. Remember, in between the two sister chromatids, the position will be in between two sister chromatids. Unlike meiosis 1, where the interzonal fibers were formed between two homologous chromosomes, here the interzonal fiber is formed between the two sister chromatids. And rest continuous as well as discontinuous spindle fibers will also be formed, but I am not drawing here for the convenience purpose. Okay. So once this apparatus is ready, that means the metaphasic apparatus is ready, the spindle apparatus is ready. Now the cell is ready to move into the next phase, which is the anaphase 2. Okay, now the cell has entered into the anaphase 2, and in anaphase what is happening? Again, by push and pull mechanism. What is push and pull mechanism? Interzonal fibers are polymerizing, whereas the chromosomal fibers are depolymerizing, which are creating a pull force, whereas the interzonal fibers are pushing, right? And what is happening because of it? The centromere is splitting. The centromere split takes place. The centromere divides from the center, and now the number of chromosomes has increased because the centromere has divided. Now, because of the division in the centromere, now each chromosome consists of one chromatid. Okay, one chromatid and one centromere. This is what is taking place in the anaphase. And both the splitted chromosomes, the newly formed chromosomes, they are moved towards the opposite poles, as you can see in the diagram, right? Then what happens? The cell moves into the telophase followed by the cytokinesis. Since the division, the separation of the chromosomes have already taken place, so in the telophase what will happen? The decondensation of the chromatin fibers will take place. Decondensation, right? Then the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus will reappear. Okay. All the cellular organelles will also be visible now, and the cell will start for cytoplasm division, that is the cytokinesis, which will take place by furrow formation in case of animal cells, whereas by cell plate formation in case of plant cells. I am not discussing these processes in detail again because I have discussed about all and each and every process when I was discussing mitosis, and it is identical to mitosis. Okay, so this is how, with the process of meiosis, from single mother cell, total of 4 daughter cells are produced. This is how from a single mother cell, total of 4 daughter cells are produced. N is equals to 4 are produced from single mother cell. I hope you got the point, right? Here, each chromosome has 1 chromatid. Each chromosome has 1 chromatid. Here, each chromosome has 2 chromatid. Again, in the final daughter cells, each chromosome has 1 chromatid. So the balance has regained, right? So this is meiosis. Now let us understand the significance of meiosis. Why is meiosis important? Well, I have already told you that in sexually reproducing organism, the process of gamete formation takes place through meiotic division only. Okay, it helps in maintaining the ploidy level of the species, because let's say if the gamete formation took place from the mitotic cell division, so let's say the gamete is diploid, right? Now the fusion of this 2n diploid gamete will lead to the formation of 4n ploidy levels, which is not possible. Right, which is not possible. Now, in order to conserve the ploidy level of the species, what happens? The gametes are haploid in nature, and upon fusion, this diploid condition is regained, and this is how the ploidy level of the species are maintained. Okay, and we also know that the process of variation, it takes place during only in the case of meiosis, because we have seen that in the Pachytene stage of meiosis, crossing over takes place, exchange of genetic segment in between the homologous chromosomes, which leads to the generation of the variations, right? So these are some of the important features of this particular cell division, meiosis. Okay, guys. So that's it for today. In my next class, I'll be discussing about some miscellaneous concepts about some miscellaneous types of division which are being observed in the nature, and we will be having a practice session where we'll be solving questions from the entire chapter of cell division. Okay, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day.